Greetings, YouTube. Hello, everyone. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to everyone. This is the New Year's Day Bigfoot Explorer episode. Welcome. This is your Bigfoot Explorer, Scott.
Christy Sci-Fi.
And we got old Pat Trico up in North Louisiana. And today's show, we are going to be talking about the Central Louisiana, the Kisatchie mission #1. And let's take a minute or two and see who we got in here tonight. We have Rod.
We got
Let's see.
We got Pat in here, Pat and Joe.
SoCal. And Burr's in here in the house.
SoCal.
Yep, I put him up. There's Pappy Two Bears, old Gordo Cooper. Thank you for joining.
John Jones.
There's old Five Hazel. Thank you so much.
We got David Thundercloud.
Where's he at?
He was way up at the top.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, go keep scrolling.
Oh wait, there's
What?
Yeah.
Pat and Joe.
Pat.
What's up, my Pat and my Joe?
Thanks for coming.
Hey, Rob.
J-La Pa.
Thank you so much, J-La. And there's
Hey,
Big Rob. He's the coyote slayer out west. Thanks for joining us.
Watch David Thundercloud keep going.
Let's see. Cryptidville.
What's up, Cryptidville?
All right, thank you. Let's see.
Keep going. There's David. David Thundercloud.
Hey, David, thanks for joining us here tonight. Michael Ward, thank you. Oh, and we got a Patrick fan. There's Joe Parker. Says, hi,
Mr.
Patrick.
Parker. Better be good. I'm going to boot you out.
So,
Margaret Bridges is in here, too.
where is she at?
And
Oh, wait, there's still Crazy Chris.
Hey, Chris.
Still crazy. Hey.
Wait, we got some new ones. Bigfoot Mama.
Bigfoot Mama, thank you for joining us.
And then I seen another one, Linda Taylor. Oh, look, there's Jamie. Hey, Jamie.
Jamie Harns, thank you so much for stopping by.
Babe. Oh, that's
Carl, I think.
Hey, Carl.
Hey, Carl.
We got another one up there.
We have a Facebook user. All Facebook users. Hey, listen. Just to let you guys know, if you see the stream that started in the Bigfoot Explorer group on Facebook, they will have a if you want to remain anonymous, that's cool. You can just click on it, start the video, and you will just be a Facebook user to everyone else. If you want to show your name, though, right before you click, there's instructions right above the video. And it's just a little tip, because I've noticed a lot of people who are watching from Facebook, I don't think they realize that they can show their Facebook name or handle or whatever you want to call it, you know. All right, well, let's get this thing started. We went to Central Louisiana on December 19th through the 22nd. So it was a Thursday. We had a place to stay. It was awesome. We'll definitely be going back. Thanks to Rance. He knows who he is. Many thanks. And Michelle. Excuse me. We went out Thursday night. We didn't want to stray too far. We were Patrick got there about 4 o'clock or so, or 3.
3.
And we ended up strolling in about
5:30,
6 o'clock. So it was dark. So it took us 4.5 hours to get there, you know, from South Louisiana. So we decided to pick out some of our recon spots that we picked just from doing aerial reconnaissance. And we kind of told y'all the way we go about picking and finding places using our aerial maps. And that's what Patrick came up with, was the contiguous forest land water, and game. Void of man. Water, game, and then I put in there elevation and habitat diversiveness, meaning how many different habitat areas are within your area. And what that means is it just a sea of pine forest for as far as the eye can see, or are there a lot of low spots where you got hardwood, pine, you might have clear cut, you might have fields. All of these things combined, if you can find places like that, we have been doing excellent by studying, not just looking. We study the aerial maps for weeks to pinpoint locations for us to go recon. And believe it or not, the last two, the Mississippi mission and then this one, we did pretty good because hit it, Patrico.
That was the third time that we hit the nail on the head.
3? I thought it was 2.
Mississippi.
Yeah.
We picked out, we used our criteria to pick out waypoints to go look at.
Right.
And walked in tracks.
Yep.
The recon I did when we were all sick, you had a waypoint that you sent me to.
Oh, that's right.
Studied. I walked into tracks and was having stuff thrown at me as I was trying to get out of there. And then this one, other waypoints that were chosen on by the criteria, walked straight in tracks.
Yeah.
So that's 3. And really, I mean, I remember when we were discussing it and even in a phone dialogue, well, that just sounds crazy to do, but we all witness it.
Yeah, that's what dumbfounds me. I don't want people to think, or our subs and friends to think, well, gee, every mission they go on, they're getting something. We're just as dumbfounded as you that we're having pretty decent success.
It's a lot of work. Years of experience.
It is a lot of work. Sometimes it's just strange noises or whoops or knocks. This time, well, I'm just gonna say it. We're gonna try to do this sequential from night and day and night and day. But we got footprints to show y'all. And something happened on Friday night. I don't know if you can see, but I got the goosebumps. Do you see the goose pimples? Do you see the hair sticking up? Do you see the hair sticking up on my arm?
Oh my God, they rising.
I jumped a little.
We all pooed a brick.
I jumped a little.
I didn't poo a brick. I was in shock.
I did.
I was like,
well, look, stay with us because we're going to get to that point. Why don't you two do Thursday night? Because believe it or not, it's just some things I don't remember. And when I'm videoing, I'm so intent on videoing and getting stuff. Sometimes I don't hear a lot of stuff. So run us through Thursday night, you two.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly right. That's another reason why I don't hold a camera in my hand, because I
missed so much audio. It's nuts.
But I got to focus on this.
Yeah.
So that's why it's been so great working with a team. And I'm gonna tell you, your mapping system and how you map everything and how y'all work it makes my job so much easier in tracking.
Good.
Because I can narrow it down to a 5-mile area, and then I'm in there walking for a long time trying to find everything. But with the mapping system that you have, I walk in, I walk right on top of it. So
it's like it doesn't take long for you to pick up a trail.
Yeah. So Thursday night, we go to a woods pond. That was Thursday night, right? Thursday night, we're doing a knock investigation at a woods pond. Christy and I are doing vocals. Christy has a better vocal than I do. I just can't quite. I don't know. I'm just kind of deep, but we're Scott's doing knocks, and then I do a yell, and then I hear just a long yell, and it's just and they're operating from two ridges back, and you just hear this faint long yell, and then and it's just like, what can you do with that?
Yeah, just barely above ambient.
Yeah,
you hear it and you recognize that it's a long note and not a coyote or a fox or a cow. Now, if I brought these areas up for y'all to see, you would see there is nothing around it but a sea of woods for miles. Sorry.
Yeah. I'm sitting there listening. I heard a long yell, and then I heard two short yells coming from the backside, and it gets creepy. This is where it gets creepy. Closer, one ridge closer, I hear two short yells, and Christy and I are standing there a little ways, and she's doing whoops, and then there's wispy brush that kind of covers this hillside, and they're kind of like this, and when something walks in it kind of claps. The tops kind of clack a little bit, and Christy and I are sitting there listening to this something walk through this on this hillside. It's walking ever so slowly, and you can hear the tops of those brush clack. Not all the time.
I did hear that stick break.
Yeah.
I heard that.
Yeah.
That's about the only thing I heard Thursday night.
Well, it went further up the hill, crossed the road, and when it come back down, that was where its stick broke, and we actually backtracked it up the hill and found that stick. That stick came out and was kind of curved up, and in the dark it broke it, and that's that stick we found.
And look, just to let everybody know, I am editing this right now. I just finished the intro on it, and I'm hoping to get it out for either Friday or Saturday. Premiering it so we can all watch and chat on it in the chat room. So it's kind of cool. We're doing things backwards. We usually premiere the show and then we do a discussion about the video. But it's been so long, and it's going to take me so much longer to edit this stuff that I said, look, let's just go on. We'll have our discussion. We'll get everybody excited for watching it, and then we'll premiere it shortly after this, and we'll have the chat where everybody can talk and ask questions as we're watching it. So just letting y'all know early that everything we're talking about is coming hopefully Friday or Saturday. So that was really, and Thursday was the coldest night too.
Yes.
Remember that?
It was freezing.
It was freezing.
It was
like
freezing.
32 degrees. That was frost.
Yeah, it was frosty, and it was clear as a bell. You could hear. Yeah. I could hear him walking. And it breaks that stick and it comes down the hill. And the crazy thing is, I found its tracks down there. I even found where it crossed the creek. I got a picture of it where it stepped into that sandbar in the middle of the creek. It's not just real clear. It's not a conclusive track, but I know what was there, and because I know the toes are there. So it was a lot of fun. Press point, Patrick should change.
Wait, I'll put it up. Wait, where?
Sorry, y'all.
Where is it? Doodle Squatch has got a good comment here. Press 1 if Patrick should change his name to Booger King. Hey, I like it, man. This is not bad.
Booger King?
Yeah, Wood Booger King.
Well,
so
who was that? Doodle Squatch. Well, Doodle Squatch, I silently spent a lot of years in the woods studying, and I'm so grateful to be able to work with a team now and be able to get, try to use what I learned in one area to bring forth knowledge and awareness, and especially with the platform that Xplorer, provides.
And
so I hope I pulled my weight.
Yeah, and what we're doing with this channel too is, listen, we're not claiming to be people who know everything about what we're doing. Each of us are schooled and disciplined in the things that we know. We have a huge affirmation to wanting to study these things, right? But we're going to make mistakes, and we have been. And we're going to tell you about every mistake that we're going to make because we made them. And on this trip, I made one, a massive one. And
I'll tell you about the one I made.
It's
no one knows.
painful. It's so painful. They had to get me back into a better mood from this trip because once we get to the part we're about to talk to in just a little bit, you'll see why. But you think you know and you plan. You plan, you plan, you plan, you plan, you study, you study, you study. You bring all your gear, you bring all your gear. For me, it's cameras, it's batteries, it's SD cards, it's this and that. I gotta have multiple stuff on me if something goes out, flashlights, it's tough. It's and it's proven to be a little bit more of a challenge for me because I tend to get this trip. I was zoned out so much that I just wanted to be out there, and I feel like the trip that we went to your place, the first one in the summer. For some reason, I just was on point, boy. I was on point, and I was. Ugh. But I think that's gonna happen. That happens within anything that you do. I mean, some days you go to work and you kill it at work, right? You feel good about what you did. You got a lot of stuff done. You showed the boss something. And then other days you're like, when am I leaving? Or maybe you make a huge mistake and you get called in. All this stuff is going to happen. And on this trip, we had, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Well, here's the thing. I said it before. They don't play checkers. They play chess, and they don't play to win. They play till they win, and that's what you're against. Thinking on your feet the whole time. And I got to come clean on a huge mistake I made later when we get to it.
Yeah.
They don't just play chess. They play hide and seek.
Yeah.
They play chess.
They're masters.
They're masters of the hide and seek game.
So that was kind of the gist of Thursday night. Mm-hmm. We had a good night. It was cold. We had several long distance yells, no knocks. We had something that was paralleling us and walking. After and the video will show it, we actually went into the woods where we heard all this, and Patrick found tracks. We found the stick that broke right in front of us, or a stick, or a bunch of them. And that was awesome. I mean, that kind of set the tone. Weren't we out there pretty late though too? It was like, because I remember getting back at like almost midnight Thursday. Yeah. Was it, or was it more like 10 o'clock? I think 10 o'clock.
I remember laying down about 1.
Yeah. So it was around 11:30, and we have to. The places we pick are usually so far off the beaten track that it's not even a gravel road anymore. It's a dirt lane. It's like a lane. It's not really. Yeah.
I call them pigtails.
And believe it or not, I have to hand it to the unsung hero of the trip. That is the 2012 Kia Sportage EX with all-wheel drive. Dude, that got us everywhere we wanted to go. We were dodging mud puddle after mud puddle, and we got through it all. So I was so worried about that going up there because I knew the roads weren't going to be as good as they are in Southwest Mississippi. But, the little car got us all where we needed to go and got us out. So just want to say that. So moving into Friday.
Oh, but yeah, you forgot to tell them we didn't really sleep that good Thursday night. We were all restless in Seattle.
Oh God,
yeah.
yes.
We were not. We was all up.
Snoring and
I slept 6 hours that weekend, I think.
Patrick had like a some kind of padded thing that was on there. It was like sleeping on a marshmallow. Like he just sunk into it, like down.
All you see was his feet and his head.
Yeah.
You could have put a piece of plywood over the bed and
Yeah.
it wouldn't have been on him.
I started to sleep on the floor. I started to get on the floor. I did. It was, but you know, by the third night, I actually kind of got used because I sleep on a firm foam memory foam. You know? I like a firm bed. I do. You know.
Yeah.
But
So Friday, we get up
Friday morning, we go to set light sound up on Swamp Ridge 1.
Yeah.
And did some tracking there, and found significant tracks there.
Yeah.
And set up a light sound.
You want to show some of those tracks we found? Yeah. Right there on.
Yeah.
I think we got this wasn't the light sound tracks. Let me find them, guys, real quick. Let me get on them. Yeah, this is them. I think this is them. Let's see. These are the tracks. Now, we didn't get all of them, but they had 6. Weren't there 6 or 7 in a row, just like this?
Oh, it was a whole travel way from the top of that ridge all the way down.
And
there was
the videos show it better, but this is it's walking this way.
Well, there's probably 7 that you could actually pick up very well. The others are just kind of marks. But there's probably 24 steps in the leaves that weren't significant.
Yeah, you could tell that something was walking there though.
But what amazes me is how the leaves and all are moved. I mean, it's down to the dirt, you know?
Yeah, I don't understand why sometimes their track is like that and sometimes it's not. But twice, I do know they've scuffed their feet sometimes. So I don't know.
Right.
You know, I don't know if they don't kick their foot once in a while. I don't know.
Right.
Don't know.
That's something I see a lot. I see a lot of, you'll see punch mark, and then it's like they took their foot and said,
yeah,
you know, and they kept on walking. You know, I don't know why that causes, you know, what the cause of that is.
Martha said, Christy Sci-Fi Guy, we enjoyed your fireworks last night.
Yeah, she told me one.
Awesome.
Need some coffee.
So yeah, Ann says maybe the leaves are stuck to their feet. Like if their feet are muddy and then they're on dry leaves that aren't wet, when they come off, it's going to take those leaves with it.
Could be. Yeah.
Yeah. So Friday, just like he said, we kind of did the light sound. We took a radius event area down to the bare soil, put the radio in it, 3 flashlights in it, but this time we hid a camera in a log, and it was very difficult to see. And we also left an audio recorder there. So all that'll be, you'll see that in the video. Then we left there, right? And
we left Swamp Ridge 2 and did a recon on Swamp Ridge 2.
Yeah. But is that when we put out the tent stuff?
Yeah, I believe we.
I think that's when we did it, because you had that in mind before we even went. So
yeah.
What after after we left the light sound area, we went to the place we call Swamp Ridge 2.
We did a recon, then we went and got lunch, and then we came back.
Ah,
Yeah, we went.
that was
That's
it, because we had to go get the stuff.
Yeah.
So, what were your thoughts about Swamp Ridge 2 recon when we went there?
Swamp Ridge 2 was about 900 yards the other side of Swamp Ridge 1. I only found one set of tracks of one animal in there, and the same size tracks were in Swamp Ridge 2 as well. And so 900 yards isn't anything for them to travel. You know, when we got back in there the second time, we actually stopped. You know, we found where something was just tearing the road up coming across there.
Yeah, it was coming straight like a cross section, not walking the trail, but went across the trail. Yeah. So,
and we found an inconclusive track that we took a picture of. I don't know if you have that.
I don't think I have that one, but
Christy took a picture of it.
This was in that area though too. This footprint, where's that one at? Here it is. This is in Swamp Ridge 2. This is somewhat inconclusive, but
you can see the heel, and then you can see into the foot.
Yeah. Oh wait, I'm not showing it. God damn it, Scott. Sorry, Lord. Please forgive me. So yeah, you can see the heel, and this was really on the side of the trail, and then the inconclusive that he found was right off the trail, getting back into the woods. So the toe here, the outline of the toes.
Christy snapped a picture of the one that was up on the side of the road in the bluff in the trail where it was making a mess at.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you got that.
I've looked through all of these, and I don't know if it's there.
It just looks like there's some lichen and some moss and then some mud.
There's hog splitter. Oh, this was another one in
that's a good
one.
Yeah. Yeah, so see that same track is what I was finding in Swamp Ridge 2, 900 yards the other side of it.
And this right here, down at the bottom, that's Sci-Fi's little foot.
Little foot.
Yeah.
I'm looking to see if I can find that picture. Let's see, that's the one that we just had.
You were ranging something.
Well, when I did a recon in there with my tracking partner, something was down at the bottom of the hill and it took off running. Yeah. When we topped the hill down in that draw. And so before we topped the hill, I wanted to see if anything was down in there. But that's a good photo. But yeah, we went back in there after lunch and got set up. And
so tell them what we were going to do back in there after
we were, you know, you hear these people talk about, and I believe them. I had one come right behind my tent. Well, I had one come right behind my shelter before at a primitive, you know, doings. So I told Scott, why don't we pack have the perfect tent. We can pack in there, cut holes in it, get in the tent, knock, and see if we can get something to come up to it with a camera watching us, you know. And so that's what we were doing. And so we do that for a while, and I'm claustrophobic real bad, and I'm laying in a corner.
Wait, though. We went and set that up. Oh, did we set it up? And we
stayed there. Yeah, we stayed there.
Yeah.
We all popped in the tent.
Okay.
The thing is, while we were setting up, Christy and I were listening to something. She'd hear it, and I could hear it too. It come in walking, and it was down in the draw, and it walked all the way around. It walked and it walked almost a 360 circle around us, and then backed up to that hill, 60 yards, that ridge that was 60 yards out.
Yeah.
To our right. And so, and it just sat there, and we got in the tent, and we knocked and cut holes, had a pretty good setup.
Now look, all three of us were in a 3-man dome tent. We
Yeah.
had lanterns that were set up around us. We had a trail camera that was hidden down in like the side of a hillside, like in the mud. You couldn't see it. I had an audio recorder that we set up. So go ahead.
And Christy's running her thermal. You have your camera. I'm knocking, and we do that until about it. I've had as much of my claustrophobia as I can, and I'm like, I'm ready. It's probably an hour.
We stayed in there a good hour and 45 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we stayed in there from where it got dark until probably about 7 or 7:30. Now during that time though, we did knocks and Patrick did yells, vocals.
Yeah.
We had a ton of stuff going on. I don't know what it was about that night, but we had a pack of coyotes that was a good, I don't know.
They were close.
300, 400 yards away, maybe. And you could tell they were kind of separated. There was like a big group right here. And then they had 1 or 2 that were going off and answering. And one of them was like an old raspy. So we had them going. We had owls going around us that were just like chiming in on the vocals that Patrick was doing, loud vocals, right? So, so we get out, and then what?
Well, here's an observation on that. I did an aggressive yell, long aggressive yell. Coyotes lit up. It's kind of like they circled around a little bit, and then they left the country.
That's on video. That's on video.
Yeah. They're leaving. I mean, they're evidently they've heard something similar to that, and they knew to leave.
Yeah, because they never came back and did it again. That's
and so and Christy's doing whoops, and I mean we're just having fun. We're having a blast. Christy and I'm doing yells. She's doing whoops. We're changing up her whoops a little bit. Doing high pitch, and then I think we irritated what was circling us that day, that before the sun went down, because you're sitting on the ground.
Yeah,
Christy, I'm facing Christy, and you hear this.
Hold on.
You do it.
You did your.
You do it better than I do. I can't do it.
Wait. Before you do it, you did your yell. You went, rah, like that.
Yeah.
And then this one
goes. Then I go, oh, kept going, and then I stopped.
Yeah.
And
it turned around. It mimicked it.
This is what we hear. This is the best that I can do it. It's nothing. The cadence and the notes are about the same. It was something like just like that. This happened 60 yards on the next ridge over.
Yeah, it was.
Look, he's got goosebumps.
I got goosebumps just thinking about what happened to us.
Christy's eyes got that big.
Her eyes got that big. This one looks at us and says,
I looked at Scott. He's on the ground. I said, "That's a Bigfoot."
And then me, I'm like terrified, and I said, "Did you hear that?"
Yeah.
And and to save battery, a video action and then a stop, and a video action and then a stop, and then a video action and then a stop, because these batteries, they go 2 hours, and if I would have just left it on the entire time, but we didn't get. This is the mistake, and it's not really. well, it is my mistake, but then again, there was a problem with technology. So after this happened, did we do any more? I don't even think we did any more sounds. We were just, oh my God, I cannot believe we heard it. It was so clear. It was like a man, but not a man. The sound was just guttural, but it wasn't that like, you know how you hear people talk, how they roar and it's so loud it just like your insides shake. This wasn't like that.
No, it
and the more we talked about it, all three of us, we have nothing to corroborate this. It's just strictly our opinions. And basically, and it never made a sound again.
Yeah.
And nothing else did either. Got quiet.
Well, it was a mimic. It did the call, the rah I was doing, and it did the yell that she was doing, you know, and
we came to the conclusion that it was like that rah, rah, and then the rah, rah. It was almost as if the woods were on fire with coyotes and hoot owls and this and that, and then us clanking in the woods, yelling and all this. It's almost as if the way it sounded was like the creature was like, you people make me sick. Ugh, like he was scoffing at us. Like just, you make me sick. Get.
Well, we knew what direction that what was circling us stopped in. So Christy and I are yelling at it. I mean, we're yelling at it, and then finally you hear that, and I said, "That's one." You know,
you lit up your eye. You were so excited. You're like, "That's Bigfoot."
Yeah.
Well,
I was just blown away. And listen to me. There is nothing that I know of in South Louisiana woods that makes the notes that this thing made. If it would have just been like a big long yell, people have mistaken big long yells for coyotes, moose, elk, all this kind of stuff. But the fact that we can remember it was the I don't know any animal that does it. And whatever it was facing our direction. If you spend a lot of time in the woods, especially if you're a turkey hunter, you know when that turkey is roosted, if it's gobbling away from you, it almost sounds like it's further away. But if you hunt long enough, you'll hear like it sounds, damn, man, it's like 1,000 yards away. And then 10 minutes later, you might hear a gobble. He's turned on the limb, and it sounds like, gee, it's only 200 yards away. Some people will confuse that and say, oh, there's two birds. No, same bird, same tree. One's gobbling totally away from you up in the tree, and the other one is gobbling straight in your direction. This sound was not muted off in a hollow. It was not facing away. It was directed straight to us because you could hear the imperfections or like the staggering of the end of the notes, that raspy kind of scary sound. That's what made it so real. It was like it's so real it was fake. It was like, my first thought was like, who the hell would be out here doing that? And we're like, there's nobody. This is the only trail in.
What'd you equate it to?
Huh?
What did you equate it to?
It's got to be a Sasquatch.
No, I mean, you said, man, it sounded like a monster.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. I said, that sounded like a monster.
I was quiet.
Yeah.
I didn't say a word.
I said that.
Here's the thing, though.
It sounded like a monster sound.
We don't have that down here.
No.
you'll never forget that tone and voice. And the next one you hear, you'll be like, that's it, you know. But
Yeah, look what Five Hazel says. Obviously, they let you know they didn't like you being there, and on a cool deer. Yep, deer could have been moving. He could have been hunting, and kind of whatever it thought of us. It was like it knew it couldn't show itself or do anything. It knew it was going to give its sound away, right? But it didn't care. It was like it was so PO'd or agitated, but not enough really to get super enraged. But it was kind of like when you see somebody do something stupid and you're like, look at, oh my God, this person's dumb. You know, stop it. That was how the scoffing sound made us feel, like we were just a bunch of children out there, and it just let us know, like, you morons.
well, here's the deal. You know, for me, you know, I was breaking some rules out there. You know, we were how back off of the out? Where were we? A couple hundred yards.
No, we were back there.
Probably 100, 150, 200, something like that, away from an out.
200 yards back in there.
Yeah. So we're 200 yards from an out.
This is from a place to get in a car and leave.
Yeah. That's a rule that's not something I do. But so I got a little nervous. I'm like, okay, this thing sounds like it's going to come over here and hand her butt to us. You know, we're 200. So we decided to leave the tent, throw a radio in the tent. We leave the tent, the cameras, the lights, everything as
exactly right.
Like a light sound, and we left and went to.
Well, wait.
We went to Walmart.
Let me state this, since we're right here on it. My mistake was y'all had, and hey, some people in the chat are saying elk. What are you talking about? I know there's no elk in Louisiana. I'm just saying in general across the United States, people can mistake moose, elk, coyote. Have you ever heard of fox call? That's the oddest thing in the world. Not the little chatter that they do, the chit 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 chit, but they make a call that is strange as hell. And I'm fixing to do a video with all these animal sounds, and we'll go across those. But y'all have seen me in some of the videos with the backpack on, and I got the big audio recorder and the shotgun mic. Well, I didn't put it on because I brought the smaller mic, a smaller recorder that we put in the box, and we were just going to leave running the entire time. So I sat down before all this happened, before we got in the tent. He put his camera up. We set up lanterns all around the tent, up in the tree branches. I get my what did I forget back at the car that I had to go walk back for?
You forgot a SD card.
Yes.
No, I didn't have an SD card.
He didn't have it.
He didn't have an SD
he
card.
Didn't have it. Yeah. He didn't have the SD card for the camera. So I set the audio recorder up. I pressed record. And then there's a little thing where you can lock the side of it, where you can press any buttons and nothing's going to happen, but it's still recording. Put it in my little box, closed it, gave it to him. He went and hung that up. I walked all the way back to the vehicle, got an SD card, came back, gave him the SD card. He put it in the trail camera, and then we proceeded to start to get dark. We got in the tent, and everything we just told you happened, right? So after that, after this scoffing from Squad, and we didn't last there too much longer. We were like, let's go. Like, let's go. Okay. I think that. Huh?
I heard his foot scuff after the last of his call.
Yeah.
His foot scuffed. And it was in little pine straw and leaves, and his foot scuffed, and there was weight. The weight to that foot scuff. I was concerned he was coming over to us.
Yeah. So he calmly just kind of looks down like he does, and he's like, "Well, I think we ought to go ahead and go." And like, yeah. So we got all the stuff. We left the tent, and the idea was, hey, let's get out of here quick. Let's put the radio in the tent, and perhaps whatever made that sound will come and maybe, I don't know, look in the tent, move the tent, play with the lanterns. And we left the audio recorder out there running, and we left the camera, and we got out quick. So that whole night, we're driving back, just replaying this sound, and we're like on cloud 9, dude. And we got it on audio, and this and that, and if it blah blah blah. I can't wait to get the audio recorder. I can't wait. Well, guess what? We went all night at the camp, excited, talking about it. We go to sleep, we're exhausted. Wake up, go straight back.
Saturday morning.
Well, no, we went to Light Sound Saturday morning. We went to Light Sound 1.
Yeah.
Collected the evidence.
Nothing happened at Swamp Ridge 1 where the light sound happened. And I haven't gone through all that audio yet. But nothing really. Didn't you hear some deer and stuff that was spooking around?
I heard a small group of deer. I heard a single deer. And something walked up on 2 legs just about 30 minutes before daylight.
Might have been Hunter, though, you said.
I contributed to a hunter because I do know a hunter walked in there. So I think he walked up on that ridge, and there's no telling what he thought. He's like,
what the hell is this? Yeah.
Some hippies are in here doing some kind of flashlight radio thing.
He probably was like,
he had to have left. He had to have left.
Figured it was a meth head camp.
You heard him walk up. He stopped dead still, and it's like he backed out.
Yeah, he's like, he stopped and he looked and he was like, "What?" And okay, I'm out of here. So we left that area and we were chomping at the bit to get to Swamp Ridge 2. And Patrick was like, "Man, what if we go there and the tent's all tore up, or on its side, or the radio's gone that's inside of it?" Well, nothing. When we walked up on it, nothing was out of place. The rainfly on top of the tent was like hanging off, and I put it
with a big stick
up on top of the tent with a big branch that was kind of like this, so it would stay on top of that rainfly. But the stick was on the ground, and the rainfly, just one corner of it was kind of on top of the tent. So I don't know what that means.
Probably got mad and hit it.
He had nothing on his camera, and I'm over there getting the recorder out. I open the box, I get the recorder out, and it looks like it's not recording. So I'm like, because when you walk up to it and you get it out, it should be still recording. Those things can go for almost 20 hours straight. Had brand new batteries in it, all that stuff. Well, I almost had like a searing pain in my heart. I'm like, don't tell me this. So then I back out that menu and I go to the files. Well, there's one file on it. I'm like, yes. It's there. Boy, and I play it. I'm waiting. And it's me setting the recorder up. You can hear me putting it in the box and stuff. Oh, yeah. And it's clanking. All we got was 43 seconds on audio of me setting it up and putting it in the box. So herein lies the irony. I missed it on video because you're trying to conserve battery for 4, 5, 6 hours that you're out there, right? And it just so happens it was in between, and you never know when something's just going to go off, right? So we had backup, the auto recorder. but it didn't work. But if I'd have wore my backpack and had redundancy and had the big recorder on with the shotgun mic and had that go for 6 hours, we would have got that scoffing or that yelling on audio. When I told them, we were all sick. Like, I was pissed. Patrick was pissed. It's like, how in the heck? But this is the issue. By having a 43-second recording of me setting it up, and I'm putting it in the box, you're hearing it going clunk, 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 and I'm muffled, and I close the top. How did it just stop? Because I gave it to him to go set up in the tree while I went back for the SD card. So either the recorder just stopped, or I don't know what's wrong with it, but it was recording when I set it up, or when I set it up in the box. So we were sick. I was PO'd. Everybody was PO'd, and basically, what we've learned from that is we're all going to get those small recorders, every one of us, and we're going to be each be responsible for our own audio recorder, and we're going to have a way to put it on us so that if one damn recorder is a piece of shit and just stops, well, then the other two are going, and then we got the camera. So
look what Ken says.
It happens.
It doesn't
take away your and that's what we said though. We were so bummed that we didn't have it to like share, but then again,
it'll be next time.
They did much better with it because I think they could tell that I was just
you were down and out.
So they started to build me up, and they're like, "Man, look, don't worry about it. We had the experience." Yeah. We heard it. There is no second guess. And that's what was amazing about it, was that I've been telling him since I met him, man, like this is just like standard, like we're on the phone BSing, or when I would go up there, just driving, and I'm like, I want to get a clear vocal, like where you can just hear it. You don't have to strain, and you don't have to put it in Adobe Audition and try to boost it to hear the knocks or the yell or the chatter. I want to just be able to hear it and everybody hear what we hear. It happened for us on this trip, and it wasn't recorded.
But that's okay. There's always a next time.
Anyway, so
it won't be the last opportunity, I don't think.
No, it won't be.
Hey, here's a quick question while we go in between from Five Hazel, directed to you, Patrick.
Yeah, I read it. I don't know what their gestation period is. You know, if I knew what their gestation period was, I could probably poke a guess at it, but I don't.
What? So, being bummed. Okay, that was Saturday morning, kind of. I think we went back and maybe got lunch.
Yeah.
What did we do Saturday? Oh, we went. Didn't we go back to Swamp Ridge 1?
Well, we went and set up the firelight at the Woods Pond, and then went to Ridge 1 and did a night knock investigation. And something.
Yeah, the Thursday, the place we were there Thursday was the pond. We went back to Saturday, and we set up like a firelight where we were just going to be around the fire and do some knocking and vocals. And we first went to back to Swamp Ridge 1, and did a short vocal with flashlights. Nothing. Remember, it was like, man, you could have heard a pin drop. Nothing happened that night, Saturday, back there.
Other than footfalls about 80 yards out.
Yeah, a
walking.
few footfalls.
But here's the thing. Hold on now. Here's the thing. And we'll talk about this later. You know, footfalls, you know, you're always like, well, that could be a squirrel, that could be a deer, that could be, you know, you're always pushing it back in your mind to debunk it. It could be anything, right? But on one of them that we heard the footfalls on, we actually casted the tracks.
So that's what we're getting at. What we're getting at is Saturday night back at Swamp Ridge 1, nothing really materialized. And what's crazy is I took the audio recorder that I used at the tent area where we got the yell. I wanted to see if something was wrong with that dumb thing. And I brought that with me and I hung that up without the box on it, just straight recorder because it wasn't rainy or wet or anything. And I wanted to watch that red dot hanging in the tree. Well, guess what? It worked flawlessly. So that made me even feel worse because I was hoping it would just stop and I would have chunked it as far as I could have thrown it in the woods. But anyway, so we leave there. We go to Thursday night pond area, and that was Saturday night. And what happened there?
Well, we had set up a light sound down the creek from the woods pond. And that was when we got set up for the fire as well. Then we went to Swamp Ridge 1, did the night knock and vocalizations, and came back to woods pond, built the fire. And then and we were getting some kind of crazy moaning.
Yeah, that moaning, it was like a cross between a moaning and a humming.
Yeah.
And I even looked at the mapping. I'm like, what is over there? Like you'd think that it was an industrial place or something going on around the highway. There are no highways. There's nothing the way that this thing was coming from. And it was like and then it would just fade off. We heard that 2 or 3 times. I have no idea what that could have been.
I also heard what I kind of thought maybe was a whistle. It was just like a.
See, I missed that. I was knocking this night, and they were listening well. Wasn't that the night that she caught the thing on thermal?
Yeah.
That was Saturday night. It wasn't Thursday.
No, that was Thursday night. She got the thermal, wasn't it? She'll have to tell us.
Well,
where's she at?
She's using the restroom.
Okay. Well, we'll let her.
Yeah, we'll wait for her to come out. But she started using her FLIR 1, which is
I've got to tell
a thermal that goes on the phone.
I've got to tell you,
it's not the best in the world for range, but it's something that we can use.
Well, I thought it worked great, but I screwed us up, and I didn't tell anybody.
When? Saturday?
I got to come clean on this.
Why in the hell you didn't tell us, you dirty rat?
Well, you know, it was a safety issue.
Yeah.
So I don't feel bad about doing what I did. It was a safety issue. But had I just went ahead and rolled with it, you know, it could have been something awesome. Dangerously so. All right, so Christy and I, you were knocking, and Christy and I are sitting there listening, doing whoops and stuff. Well, then I hear this same footfalls coming up through the brush. I hear the tops of those, but it's closer. You know, the Thursday night it was like 45 yards appeal.
Yeah, this is the exact same place that we were Thursday night when it was cold, and we're getting something that's circling us again.
Well, now it's closer. It's only about 35 yards out, and you can hear the footfalls in the brush. You can hear the tops of those little leafless brush kind of clack as something is passing through it.
Yeah, yeah, like something's just
it
kind
comes
of
and where the vehicle's parked, where we're standing at, you know how it slopes down that hill?
yeah.
Right there, 35 yards in the gravel. I heard it step into the gravel. You hear the weight in the gravel.
2 steps.
Okay.
See, I missed that because I was all the way in back the car, like
you're all the way on the other side.
Yeah.
You're probably another 15, 20 yards the other side of the fire knocking. So you can hear it.
I was standing directly, like maybe not even a foot away from you.
But notice how it got to high ground, and that was our only exit.
Yeah, it went to high ground. It stepped into the gravel. I heard the weight of the gravel. It took another step into the gravel. You hear the weight, and then it turned towards us.
Then you pushed me back. You made me get behind you,
and you drew your weapon, didn't you?
No, It was coming down. It was coming down the gravel hill, down the road. It took 2 steps coming down the gravel hill, and so, you know, it was fixing to breach my 25-yard, minimum. And so I grabbed Christy. I pulled her behind me, and I draw a weapon. Right when I grabbed my weapon, it turned. It went across the road into the brush. And had I not reacted that way, if I'd kept my hands empty, it may have walked right up to us because you were doing a 2-knock. So I might have screwed up your 2-knock because it was coming down the gravel hill towards us, and just
quietly walking around us.
You could hear it, and so I think I screwed us up.
Yeah. Cryptidville asks, how far were you from Pisen? It could have been a mech unit. No, I'm just going to say this. It was nowhere near Pisen, and it wasn't that.
She said, was the moaning, Fifth Hazel said, was the moaning rhythmic?
Doodle Squatch says, did you find any wood knock damage on trees around the pond? We're getting to that. Hang tight, because we're getting to what we found around the pond.
Yes.
Okay? Hang in there. And then where did she say that? She said,
was the moaning rhythmic and any smells?
5 Hazel thinks they were mating back in there. Maybe. I don't know. We didn't hear any rhythmic sounds. We have no idea what that moaning thing was.
Yeah, but me and you heard something weird.
But wasn't that the moaning sound?
No, it was like a humming noise.
Like humming. Yes.
Yeah, it was like a...
I have no idea what that was. And guess what? It was east of our position. And guess what's that way? 2 big feeder streams and nothing but contiguous woods for probably 30 miles.
Oh, look, he says just putting suggestions out there.
Yeah.
The way you described it's how
right, yeah. And that's
different.
one thing we wanted to stay away from was over there.
Fifth Hazel said, did we have any smells? We smelled something. I think it was me and Patrick smelled something earlier that day during the daylight, not the nighttime, remember?
Yeah.
Like
it was musky.
Like musky deer urine, wet dogs.
I'm dying to smell this rottenness.
Musky, stale urine.
Yeah. Wet doggish.
So that was the extent that really was exciting Saturday night.
Look what he said. Foots are getting jiggy.
Yeah, Foots are getting jiggy with it. Yeah, get jiggy. With it.
Yeah. Sorry.
That's all good. Yeah. So real quick, let's show a picture, and I'm gonna let Patrick decipher this. I don't think it's anything.
I think it is.
Because I think if it was something, it'd have picked something up a little bit heavier on the thermal. But both of them think that this was a possibility. Yeah. What we're about to show you in the thermal was a Squatch doing this. Look, around the tree. So it's like half a face and then a shoulder. So let me find that real quick.
You are with pareidolia. I hate that word.
It's
well.
not,
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, guys.
Let me find it.
We tracked back there, and there was nothing in there.
Wait.
There was nothing in there that would make.
Is this it right here?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's in question right here is, I'm hoping they can see my my cursor. Can y'all see the white arrow?
Yeah.
So of course these are the trees. I mean, you can tell which trees here, right? That's energy in the trees. Pine trees drip their sap during the winter. So there's areas that are colder or warmer. But right here, this is the whole tree. From this reddish area to this orange. This right here is what they're talking about. It looks like it's coming out.
Well, zoomed in, it's a little easier to see. But
yeah, I can't zoom in on this.
Can I zoom? I tracked back there, and that's the same area that we found tracks at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There wasn't a bush there. There wasn't a bush there. You know, if you see between the two trees in the center, you know, there's kind of a beat down dirt trail goes through there to the creek. And I went to there, and then I went uphill, and I circled around tracking, and I found tracks there, and there wasn't a bush there. You know, I looked for brush and stuff, and it was all just dead stick-ups.
Right. You know? So here's something that is interesting that I want to point out in the favor of it possibly being something, which I'm not convinced that it is. These two are. Look at this tree. Same thing as the one with the possible Squatch. If you look at this tree, we have high energy red, and then there's really nothing there on the right side of it. Okay, darkness. Let's go to this next tree. Same thing. High energy, a reddish, and nothing right on the side of it.
Oh, look at that, baby doll.
Now we go to the third tree. And this has got something, some sort of shadowing that's happening. These are too close together. Even right here, there's nothing. This tree really has nothing. This is the only one. This right here, I'm not sure what this is. This could be a bunch of low yopine branches that are just cold or something. I don't know. But you know, if Sasquatch is hairy and muddy and it's looking from around the tree, it's a possibility.
Look at that.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying.
Huh?
I'm not saying 100%. I'm saying that's a high probability that is what we think.
I look at this in a different way because I'm playing with it on my phone. So look at this. Let me see if you can see it. Wait, you hold it up. Can you see that face?
Yeah.
Can you?
Yeah, you can almost see.
Yeah.
You can almost see eye. You can almost see eyes, eye sockets. You can almost see eye sockets.
That's kind of spooky. Yeah, that's kind of spooky now.
Hey, I got a question for you, Scott. I got a question for you.
Okay.
How'd you feel about running back to the car for the SD card and then finding out there was something out there that was actually going to scar at you?
I never thought about it. I wanted to get there and get the hell back to y'all. And I somewhat jogged until I got to that area that went uphill, remember?
Yeah.
And then I stopped, I took a breather, and then I said, oh, okay.
I know it's a quick trip.
Look at this. You can see something like leaning around the tree. That's fooling with the you see that?
Yeah. Well, I think if people screenshot it and play with themselves. You know, I did because I'm like, you know, I'm trying to debunk it. I try to debunk everything, but I can't debunk it because when I zoomed in, you could just about see eye sockets.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm fooling with it. Look, I'm doing it in different. Do it again, Scott. See, look, I'm fooling with it, but you can see a face right there. See it?
Yeah. But the other thing is, I tracked that area. There wasn't a bush by that tree because I walked right by that tree.
Yeah, there wasn't a bush.
No, there wasn't no bush.
I can see that on the thermal.
You know,
it wasn't a bush.
And there was leaf litter impressions of tracks going up the hill. So, you know, that's why I'm leaning there. There's a high probability. Yeah. You know, can I say 100%? I can't. I can say high probability. You know, because I'm not sitting here trying to convince you of something. We're just presenting what we find.
Yeah.
And then we all have a perception on it because we were there.
Matt said that's him. He was always watching with his one eye.
I need a break for a second.
Dead-eye dick.
I need a break for a second. I'll be back.
Anyway, yeah, go
take care of business.
While he's taking care of business, we're gonna show you a few photos of this area where this happened. And we called this area Pond Area. We just called it Pond Area 1. Wait, I don't even think I'm sharing it. So this is where we had the fire, and right up this way, wait, we had the fire like right down here, and then up this way was the car, and where this thermal was like right over here. Like if this picture just kept going and this was all woods, pines, it was like right over here. So then we got to looking all around here. Okay. And let me see something here. Let's show a few more photos just of some stuff that we found.
Oh, we have to show them that that's a structure that I found.
Yeah. Let's see. That's by
the camp.
That's by the camp.
That's another footprint I found.
Another footprint. Here's this one. Pond. Always looking down at the camera, trying to do stuff.
What's another footprint? You barely see it. What the?
So this is a footprint that Sci-Fi found. This is, you see this pond? Right over this side, they got a little trail that goes back to a bunch of drainage creeks. And we went back there, and that is where this is. Now, we have some better photos of it. No, that's not it. I don't want to show that one until Patrick gets back.
Exactly.
I'm coming.
Hurry up.
Hang with us a little bit more. The climax of the show is about to happen, and we'll let y'all go. So that was Saturday night. What are you laughing at?
No. Anyway, it's all right. I'm good.
What is he laughing at?
I don't know. What are you laughing at, Patrick?
Just moaning and climax. I'm sorry, my head was here somewhere else.
Oh yeah, he's putting a visual to Sasquatch with the moaning and the gyrations, probably.
Well, they were talking about it, and I'm like, and someone says, "I'm sure it doesn't smell real good." I'm like, how do you even, how do you work that for a Squatch,
Oh, personally, I think he's just grab her by the head and be like, "Go down!" Not quite sure. That's my rendition of Squatch getting ready to gyrate. Anyway, this is what my kids gave me for Christmas right here. It's kind of a cool little shirt. Monkey to man to Sasquatch.
Rock on.
Yeah. So, getting back serious. So that's what we did Saturday night. We had these moaning, humming sounds. Patrick had an issue with this thing going around us, getting into the in the road, into the gravel. You could hear it stepping down. He pulled her behind him. I kind of remember that.
Yeah.
Because I was facing the other way.
Yeah.
So we had some good sounds around there. So Sunday morning.
Okay, this is where I come in with the Sunday morning, if you remember that.
So wait, what was the reason to go back there Sunday morning?
We had to go retreat. We had to go retreat.
What? Oh, that was the other thing. We also had a light sound going at that pond area on the opposite side off a drainage area. I forgot about that.
Okay.
Hey, hold on. Stop right there. Please. Christy is over there. She says something is between me and the lights going that way. Because the light sound was about 60 yards down the creek. And you could see the lights from the light sound. And Christy says, well, go ahead, Christy. You tell it.
What about the thing moving in the light?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Between
the light was blacking out, and I believe I have that on video.
And it wasn't windy.
No, it was not windy that night.
Yeah, so we got a static light sound buried in the ground. You can see the glow of it, and you could see something step in between us and the light and block the light out as it moved. And so, and I'm trying to debunk this. I step into a trail and I'm looking down it, and it does that. It does it too.
Yeah.
I can see something cross between, kind of block the light out like this and then back out of the way. And I'm like, yeah, I think Chrissy's right. Something is blocking it. And of course, this is after the gravel, after when we know something's walking through the woods going that direction, So Sunday morning, we actually track one.
Yeah, around the camp.
Yeah, it tracks one. It tracks right up to within 12 yards of the light sound and stops, and is sitting there staring. And it's about where Christy and I saw, something do that to the light at the light sound. So, and I don't know if that's on video.
I think I have the video of the light blacking out because I think I was with either the FLIR or my camera. I'm not sure. I'm gonna look and see. But we did have one at the camp too. Remember?
Yeah. Well, at the camp they have a lot of new construction going on, and so Christy and I've seen a lot of camps sites that have an observation point because they do observe us. I've seen that firsthand. So Christy gets out and she's tracking, and she's like, "Hey, I found a track." I'm like, "Oh, well, all right." We get out there, and she just wasn't finding tracks. She found tracks, but she would find a fresh track the next day. So there was an animal coming in checking out this campground we were in. It wasn't. I don't think it was anything affiliated with what we were dealing with. I think it was just something that was coming in, or at least whatever was coming in was leaving tracks that was checking it out. I'll put it that way. So that way it's objective, and I'm not trying to project something. No one's coming in, but the tracks are there. But
yeah, but tell them what happened that night, Saturday night when
I was dead asleep. I was dead asleep.
No, what? You don't remember the key?
A lot, huh?
The key?
Oh yeah. We have a blooper, and Scott was trying real hard to get it on film. I don't know how much he got on film, but we had a blooper evidently, I was the key holder, and so I put the key in my pocket and had a zip tie, on it. And evidently, tracking and doing everything in the woods, it fell out of my pocket. So we get back to camp, dead tired, exhausted,
cold,
still a little aggravated from the audio mistake, messing up. And we get there, and I can't find the key. And so we got to call the guy. And he's got to drive in. We're out in the cold till probably 1 a.m., 1:30. I think it was about 1:30 when he didn't have a spare key. He thought he did, but he didn't. We wound up pulling the AC unit out and stuffing Chrissy through a little window. And she unlocked it for us.
Yeah, but then that's when I heard scratching, and he says,
"No, y'all are leaving out the best part. The guy gets there, and they got to pull a damn a window unit out of the window, and she's got to scurry through there. And I'm racing to the car to get the camera. I'm like, oh, blooper. I got to get there, and him and the guy are like this. And she's already in. I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
Let me got that for the blooper.
But the scratching and heard the hand dragging outside the window, like where the window was, it was creepy.
I'm gonna film it. If I see that, I'm gonna film it.
No.
Yeah, we're gonna show it too.
Sorry.
We're gonna show it too.
One-eyed Matt, Mad Matt. Yep. Moral of the story: don't give Patrick the key. I left the guy a 12-pack of Coors in the fridge for him. So with that said, Sunday we go back out in the morning because we got to check the light sound. So we go back out there. We go to the light sound, and did you find something in that little drainage creek? Didn't you find
Sunday morning?
Yeah.
Sunday morning we go pull light sound, and then we come back tracking. We're tracking around the pond. There's kind of a beat down trail. I tracked one all the way up to light sound within 12 yards of light sound, but it didn't step in there and trigger my camera, which is this is an important part. We investigate, we try to learn behaviors, tendencies, and there's always something to learn. And their experiences with humans ultimately determine a lot of how they react to you and what you're doing. And so, and unless you know their level of experience with humans, it's hard to know exactly how to approach an area.
Yeah.
Young ones or uneducated, they'll walk right into a light sound. These older ones, they just tiptoed within 12 yards and kind of peeked over looking.
Yeah.
And went and then backed out. So they were smarter. So, we never lose. We never lose.
Right.
We win or we learn, but we never lose. But we're learning so much, and there's so much more to learn,
Yeah.
But we pull light sound and we go and we start tracking. I actually walk up to the pond and I said, "Oh my God, Christy, get your casting material. Get your casting material."
Wait, here's the big reveal, guys. Okay, tell them a little bit about this. It's our first casting.
Okay. It's in a bog. I mean, it literally stepped into a bog right next to a pond. There's pond water in the track.
I'm gonna show them. What you just go ahead and talk, and I'm gonna show
them. And so I step up there, and I said, "Oh wow, we're gonna try to cast this. It's hard to cast in a bog, but we're gonna do it anyway. We got the stuff. Let's do it."
Here it is.
Christy brought the casting material. Yeah, and so we set up and we cast this one, And so while, you know, we're figuring, you know, how we're going to get this done, Christy backs out and she starts tracking, and she finds a second, even better track.
Look what she found. This is the track that she found.
She calls me over and she says, Patrick, you know, come here. So I get over there. I'm like, oh yeah, we're gonna cast this one too. So we casted both tracks. Hers was better. It was a little drier area, yeah, but now if you had,
this is the good one that she found.
Yeah, you can actually see the balls of the feet in the cross section.
Yeah, you got it.
But
Patrick's was what?
This is 14 and a half, and his was 15 and a half. This one looked. I can't believe that we got these. It's just
well, you can see the locomotion in them.
Yeah, if you turn this sideways, which is called a cross section, you can see how. Wait, that's not.
You can see the heel.
But right here, you see how this is a concave. So you can see how there's more thickness back here at the heel and on the ball, which would be where its weight is, you know?
Yeah. Well, you can see the locomotion. You know, we all are looking for that pristine track and some perfect clay soil that we can cast. And if we keep going, I've found a few like that, but if we keep going, I'm sure we will get those cast. But where we're at in that bog, you know, even though there's not the perfect impression, you know, showing the dermal ridges, there are traces of locomotion as it stepped and picked up. You can see the voids in the casting where the mud stuck to its foot and pulled out and left ridges. And you can actually see in the one next to the bog, you can actually see where it kind of pushed the mud back in ridges as it moved forward. So it was an exciting thing to do, but this is part of what I was getting to. This is an area where we're listening to something walk around. We kept saying, well, something's walking around, something's walking around, something's walking around. Well, guess what? We got tracks, casted tracks of what was walking around, you know? So
how would you say, Patrick, how would you say if the stride between the tracks, how far do you think they were apart? Like track wise, you know, like the footprints like this, how would you say the stride was?
Because I'd say, you know, some of them are right next to each other. Some of them are 36 inches out there, you know. It just, you know, it was just kind of a wet, nasty area.
Yeah.
Are you talking about coming down that hill?
No, just in general. Somebody asked.
I've seen them step in their own tracks. I've seen them. The ones that were going to the light sound were only about 22, 24 inches apart, like it was tiptoeing. You know.
Yeah.
Now when it's actually moving on a trail, you know, up to 40 inches, 36 to 40 inch stride.
Yeah.
So I'm showing them this. This is what Sci-Fi used. We was so glad she did this on her own. She just went and stopped and got a 4-pound box of this white dry mix, plaster of Paris. We read the directions. We had a big Ziploc bag from some of the cold cuts, and
broke a stick. And
Patrick guessed the ratio. Was it 3 to 1?
2 to 1.
2 to 1. 2 to 1 water and powder. Stirred it and stirred it and stirred it until it looked right. And then we did our best to clean out a lot of that water that was in Patrick's print. And he put a little stick on the side of it so it wouldn't leak out. And her track didn't even really need that. So, and really, aren't you glad too that we had enough to do 2 tracks?
Yeah.
So, and this thing is relatively small. It's about as tall as a gallon of milk, and just little. It's perfect for you to put in a backpack or leave in the vehicle, next time we're always going to bring a little bucket with us.
Yeah, they got a
and some water.
They got a collapsible bucket at Academy. I'm gonna go pick that up this weekend. I want to go buy it. That's a good idea. But
and we can get those spackles.
Yeah, they got
painting spackles. Yeah. And leave that in the car too.
Yeah.
So that's the gist of the trip. We had a lot of ups and downs. We got these tracks, but then we missed the audio. We have the experience of it, which was good. But we also have tracks. I never thought we'd really get good tracks at all. So
hey, we're getting
good.
We're gonna get pretty good at it. We're gonna be having some prints.
Yeah. So 2020 plans.
We're doing
we're definitely gonna probably make trips back to this Kisatchie area. Patrick's not too far from it. I could see myself doing it again. But we're also planning a spring trip up at Patrick's area in North Louisiana. And we have several experiments that involves like games between the both of us that we're going to do. Hopefully to entice Little Sam, Sasha, I don't know, but we're going to get into it again. And hell, we'll probably make another visit to Mississippi as well. So we're not stopping. This is all progress. Just like we said, we learned a lot about redundancy with the audio. So we're just gonna. I don't know if we'll ever have that experience again, to where that.
Oh, I think
that
we will.
audio was close.
I think we will.
Oh, yeah. In my area, it's not a big deal to get a wolf. I know.
I want that one we heard, because I've never heard of all the videos on YouTube where you hear yells and samurai chatter and whoops. And have you ever heard something like I described and made the example of? I have never heard that. I have never heard anybody describe that. Those yells at us, scoffing at us.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. 5 Hazel had a pretty good question.
Is it this one?
Yeah.
Well, Patrick can give you his answer, but if we are in a life-threatening situation,
back away from it.
I can't run worth a damn. I mean, I can run a little bit, but I'm not running from anything. My idea is to go to one knee, draw my weapon, and be prepared to do whatever is necessary to help my teammates and me get out of it. And if there's ever a lull while that's happening, we're just going to back out and slowly leave. I don't think anybody can really tell you what the hell they're going to do until it happens to them.
I would do everything I could not to pull the trigger.
Yeah, I don't want to shoot. I don't want to either.
Yeah, but if it came right down to it and it was coming in, I'd let it come in, and I'd have to do what I had to do.
Yeah. That's why I like your boots on the ground, because the three of you are always aware of surroundings and open-minded. Thanks so much, Angelo, for seeing that. That's what we're trying to put out there. We want people to know that we're a bit different. We don't take things too completely serious. We the camaraderie that we have is just the joking around, and things are just as important as being serious. When we get in the woods, we're we're getting serious and we're staying quiet and we're aware. Her and I tend to stay off his backside because he's analyzing everything on the ground. So we don't want to walk or tromps on something in front of him. So we let him lead and just kind of keep eyes on each other, what's going on behind us, and we stay quiet.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a big deal. Of course, we're walking and Squatch can hear us, but still, we like to keep things quiet. We're not BSing about, oh yeah, man, yeah, and you walking through. No, we're just like anything else. When we get out the car, when we get the gear, it turns on for us, and we're doing what we need to do to be serious about it. Let's see. Does anybody else have any questions? Because that's really it for tonight.
Establish a plan, guys, with hand gestures might be also helpful.
Hand gestures, kind of like signing. Wow, that's an interesting.
It's kind of hard to do in the dark.
Yeah, it's hard to do in the dark. True.
Daytime, I use them. At long distances, I like the whistles we use.
Thanks, Mr. Outdoorsman. You're right.
Look what that said. Man,
I talk to myself out there all the time. Sometimes I need expert advice.
Matt, you're crazy.
Yeah. We've watched a few of these, but I tell you, until you're out there and you got nothing to use, it's
I'm gonna have a bucket.
But I got an idea. That's what I said. I'm gonna get that collapsible bucket. I'm gonna bring that, and then I'm gonna get a 2 liter of a bottle of Coke and put water in it, so we don't have to swipe up boggy water.
and pouring the powder in the water slowly. Bassman saying will help with the bubbles.
Yeah, we'll get those things from, what do you call them? Spatula.
Yeah, spaculas. Like for painting, because we could get 3 or 4 of those and kind of fix it and pour it out slowly instead of just using a Ziploc bag to try to squeeze it out.
I guess I think how they feel when spatula.
Yeah, spatula.
Putty knife. They sell them little plastic putty knives.
Yeah, putty knives. Perfect.
We sell those at my work. I can get those, no problem.
Yeah. Still Crazy Chris, we really appreciate you tonight. Great job, guys. Y'all work well together. Thanks so much for your kind words.
Another thing I want to try when we cast, if we get a good try, I'd like to spray it with. I like to have some hairspray so we can spray the soil with hairspray before we pour.
Okay, well, I'll get a can of that.
That's a good idea.
Some of that Aquanet, that hard shit.
I thought about when we were out there, but I didn't have it.
Hey,
hard stuff.
Yeah, but the hairspray will maybe help
keep it
for the soil from sticking so much. Now, look, guys, when these things came out of the ground, we were so afraid that you saw in those photos, Patrick had the knife. He literally cut the soil around this whole thing and then went underneath it and was slicing it out. And we literally took this out with a piece of earth attached to it because we didn't want anything to inhibit. We wanted it to dry with that earth there too. So we had it on all kind of towels with all the mud and I mean, it was like 3 times as big. So I got it home. I let them dry, and then I told them earlier before we came on. I sat in the driveway with a chair and a bucket of water, and I had a toothbrush and a little scrub, And it took me about an hour and a half to I felt like a paleontologist. It's painstaking what they do on those bones, right? To get those pieces of dirt out real easy to keep the integrity of those fossils. Well, that's what I tried to do. You can still see where there's dirt stuck in there, but hey, we'll get better at it, you know.
Show both sides of it.
Oh yeah. So this is the underneath that I cleaned, and of course this was the top, right? The top of it.
Yeah.
Which I like the bottom of it because it looks nothing like this. This kind of looks like a gun. But you know, if you turn it this way, you can see the ball of the foot perfectly. This does not look like a gun. This looks like a foot. And that is exactly what it looked like.
You can see where it slipped as it put its weight in it.
Yeah. This one, of course, we did by the water. This was the first one, so it was very difficult to get. But clearly, it has the shape. It had the heel and the toe area. They had a big piece right here that kind of. Just imagine if it was like that, it would look a little bit better. But the plaster kind of bled out, so that's kind of how it looked. And I think some of it bled out here too. So, you know, like this and like this.
Well, I gotta say, Patrick, you did a good job being in the ball, man.
Hell yeah.
You did a good job.
I told them out there, I said, this isn't going to work.
Yeah, that's what he said, always.
Because they poured it, and this was Sunday. We all had to leave, but we had to let them dry. So we went back to camp. And we got all our gear together and just geared everything up, cleaned the camp up, got all the food picked up, all the clothes packed up, put it all in the car, ice chest, you know, the whole logistics of everything. And I'm like, there's no way this is going to be ready. Well, sure enough, we got out there. It was. I'm like, yes. So that proved me wrong, you know.
It was 2 hours we were going.
Yeah. It took about 2 hours, and we were able to get them up. So I'm proud of that.
Well, someone said using cooking spray. That's an excellent idea.
Yeah.
Wait, what did she say?
They said use Pam cooking spray as a release agent.
Oh, yeah.
So if you firm it up with some Aquanet and then spray it down with some Pam cooking spray.
Right after.
You would actually have a cradle. You'd have a cradle of hardened soil with a release agent to just pull the, you know, maybe to help get the dirt off. That's an excellent idea.
Look what Angela said. Would that print be considered a teeny?
We really think
that's
this print is 14 and a half, right? The print that was around the pond is 15 and a half, but we think it's sloshed at the pond. So if it was around the pond and its weight pushed a little bit and made it a little longer, these could have been 14, both the same creature.
Yeah, but 14. they're asking if it's a juvenile.
What do you think? The size of these footprints, what do you think is that? Is that a?
I would say it's probably not full grown, but almost. I would say it's, you know, really close to being full grown, but not quite. You know, when you start seeing them 15 above, you know, 15 and a half, or it could be just a genetically small one. You know, I'm sure they have variations in sizes, just like you got a small Christie and you got, you know, female.
Now, what do you think by the telltale of the footprint? You think it was female or male?
I think it's female. A female is much more slender. In my experience,
because of the width. Yeah.
Yeah. In my experience, a female is much more slender. And you can see that. See right there, where your hand is, that's much more slender in a female than it is a male. And that foot went all the way down into the mud. So you're
Yeah.
getting the full width. It's not like you're just getting the bottom of the pad. You're getting the full width in the mud. So that was that. Yeah, in my experience, it'd be a female. A male, his ratio is much different when it comes to length and width.
Man, that's crazy. I wonder if that has to do just with the physiology, the biology of a female being more slender and sleek. And
well, I mean, look at you and look at Christy. You know, you're kind of
right.
a square body, and she's kind of a slender.
Yeah.
You know? And I think, you know, I picked up on that years ago tracking. When you find a big male track, there's no question. There's no question. I mean, he's going to be, you know, 17.
It's going to be wide.
He's going to be 17 to 19 inches long. He's going to be, you know, 6, 8 inches wide. You know, he'll be this long and that wide.
Yeah.
You know, a female will be, you know, this long and that wide.
Right.
You know?
Also, we wanted to tell you though too, where we heard the yell that happened at us, the variation yelling. When we went in there that next day and found out about the audio, we also went in the woods and went to that other ridge where we gauged about 60 yards, and there was a perfect area. There was like a knoll that was up on this ridge with 2 big pines, and the whole area was just I don't know, half foot or a foot of pine needles everywhere. So it was almost it was impossible, next to impossible for Patrick to really track that spot.
Hey,
Bassman Kelly's got a good thing right there.
With this,
for anybody who wants to answer this, how would you feel about getting out in this, knowing that there's something out there that has that size foot that will yell and scream at you, and you've been in that area before scouting, and it was watching you? What would your personal emotions be about that? If to anybody wants to answer that or leave a comment, you know.
Yeah, do that. So Bassman Kelly says, use foot length
6.6 divided by 12.
Creature's height. I've heard this will give you approximate creature height. Huh.
Ann says she'll pass.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that.
Well, there are formulas for.
Good idea.
This is a good idea, right?
But here's the thing, you know, it's done off of us a lot, and I don't know, you know, I know personally their legs don't work like I do. I know that for a fact. So I don't know, you know, if foot length that may work, but I've also heard gait equals X amount of height. So it could be. But then again, I haven't experienced that enough to be able to say yes, you know.
Yeah, hadn't found any scat. We're always looking, and we always find every other scat. Coyote, owl pellets, turkey scat, deer. Nothing that looks, I don't know, like mine.
Someone says pass, run.
Huh?
I try not to think about it.
Yeah. All right, we are done for tonight. We appreciate all of you. By the way, if you have any additional comments or questions, please leave it in the comments below. We'll do our best. If people, we try to read the comments, and sometimes when they're
that's my
enjoy your turkey season, Mr. Big and Odd.
That's Big Nod. That's my friend Bubby.
I hunt in that area for turkey. Never thought of that. We camp for days. Well, guess what? They watch you. They know you're there when you go. That's all I'm saying. They may not bother with you again because you're just completely naive to it. And you do what other humans do without the thought of them being there. So, but they're there. I'll tell you that. This is another rung on my skeptic ladder that's chipping away at the skepticism for me, because there is just no way.
You explain this.
Well, that too.
This. It's in the ground within 60 yards away.
The yell is what did it for me.
Yes.
The yell is just.
Yeah.
It is just.
They were both like, oh, did you hear that?
Yeah, but I stayed silent for the rest of the night until we got back to camp. I was like, and you like scream again, and I'm like,
Yeah, you're like, no. I'm like, come on, it's responding to you.
Oh no, that thing could have ran through the woods and grabbed me and ran off with me.
I wouldn't let him. I'd put 2 in the back of his head.
Right.
I would have been a purse for it.
Well, friends, we thank you tonight for joining us.
Hey. Bass Kelly.
Bass Kelly's
Bass
got
14-inch, 16.
Oh.
6 by 6, 7.7 feet. Let me take a picture of that.
Wow.
Well, see that, I paid attention to Sasha's tracks, and we might be able to take this formula and reverse engineer it for Sasquatch, because I've paid attention to her tracks. Hers is 15.5, and she's 7.5 feet tall.
Yeah, he was right on the money.
So
if
you're 14.5, I would probably say around 7, just a guesstimation, but you could probably take that formula and reverse engineer it from the human's standpoint to Squatch. And I'll work on that. Thank
you so much, Bass Kelly. All right. Thank you so much. Hang in there. Be on the lookout for the video of all of what we discussed here tonight is coming out. Okay. So, of course, we don't have the yell in there, and we talk about it a little bit, but we do have the tracks and the casting and things of that nature. So you'll get to see where we were, how we did it, how long we stayed out at night, the calling, the knocks. So we appreciate everybody who stayed this long. We really do. Thanks for watching. And until next time, you guys be good, okay?
Happy New Year with a prosperous and healthy, and
take care of one another, and
hugs, loves, and
have a good 2020. Good night, folks.